Brandon Garrison is a scary guy, but for the Cats' opponents. If you're a fan of his and are proud of Pope's work, subscribe to the channel now. The Kentucky Wildcats are starting to show the world what it means to have a cohesive, well-coached team full of potential. Under the visionary leadership of Mark Pope, the Wildcats are building an identity that combines individual talent with strategic teamwork, and few players exemplify this evolution better than Brandon Garrison. The young player has been a revelation of late, and his performance has become a key piece in the tactical puzzle that is scaring opponents and elevating the level of the program. Garrison is not just another name on the list. He is a living example of what happens when a player embraces his role within a well-structured system. In recent games, he has proven to be much more than just an athletic athlete or a gritty defender. He is transformed into a multifaceted threat who can change the course of a game. Whether it's hitting three-pointers, dishing out smart assists, or making game-changing steals, Garrison is consistently and efficiently filling the stat sheet. His ability to space the floor has been especially impactful, allowing Kentucky to exploit the quick transitions and aggressive penetrations that have always defined the Wildcat style of play. But Garrison's success is no fluke. It is a direct result of the meticulous work of Mark Pope, whose basketball philosophy has been the backbone of this transformation. Since taking over, Pope has demonstrated a remarkable ability to develop players, maximize their strengths, and adapt his system to the pieces at hand. He understands that college basketball is not just about raw talent, but also about how that talent is molded and integrated into a greater whole. In Garrison, Pope has found a player who is willing to learn and grow, and the result is a perfect symbiosis between player and coach. What makes Pope's work even more impressive is how he has managed to keep the team united and resilient even in the face of challenges. The absence of Jackson Robinson could have been a devastating blow, but instead, Kentucky has found ways to make up for that loss. Players like Garrison and Otega Owa have answered the call, showing that this team doesn't rely on a single star, but rather a collective committed to success. That team mentality is exactly what makes the Wildcats so frightening to opponents. They don't have just one offensive or defensive weapon. They have multiple threats that can emerge at any moment. And we can't ignore the emotional impact Pope has brought to the program. He has a unique way of connecting with his players, inspiring confidence, and instilling in them the mindset that each one plays a vital role in the team's success. This kind of leadership creates an environment where players feel valued and motivated to perform at their best. That's why we see Garrison running in transition, diving for loose balls, and defending with maximum intensity. He knows that his effort not only contributes to the score, but also builds team spirit. Defensively, Kentucky is starting to look impenetrable. Garrison has been a pillar of strength in this regard, using his energy and intelligence to pressure opponents and create transition opportunities. When combined with the tactical discipline implemented by Pope, the result is a defensive machine that stifles opposing offenses and forces constant mistakes. Teams like LSU have experienced firsthand how difficult it is to play against such a well-organized and determined team. Offensively, Garrison's growth as a three-point shooter adds a new dimension to the Wildcats game. Once seen as an interior player, he is now being respected as a threat from distance, something that opens up even more space for point guards like Otega Owa to exploit his skills. This balance between perimeter and paint is exactly what makes Kentucky so dangerous. Opponents don't know where the next shot will come from. Will it be a lightning layup from Owa, a slam dunk from Garrison, Or maybe a team play that culminates in an easy basket. The way Pope manages his team encourages individual development and keeps the focus on the collective is a testament to his experience and vision. For Kentucky fans, that's something to be proud of and optimistic about. And on we go. Jackson Robinson's situation was complicated, and Pope said, "Let's talk about it." And that's exactly what was evident in Mark Pope's moving account of the moment Jackson Robinson learned his season and his college career was over. The story not only illustrates the fragility of sports, but also the impressive strength of the human spirit. Robinson, one of the leaders of the Kentucky Wildcats, had already shown throughout the season that he was much more than a talented player. He was an example of dedication, resilience, and commitment to the team. When he suffered the wrist injury during practice, he could have chosen to step away immediately. However, his determination spoke louder. He tried to play against the Oklahoma Sooners, even though he knew the pain was intense and that something was wrong. It was only after the injury worsened that it became clear that his body had reached its limit. But what is truly impressive is not only Robinson's courage in trying to return to the court, but also his ability to put the team above himself, even in the face of a devastating situation. Mark Pope, always eloquent when discussing his players, perfectly captured the essence of what makes Robinson so special. During Monday's radio show, Pope shared details of the moment Robinson realized his season was over. He described how the senior struggled to contain his emotions while unwaveringly supporting his teammates throughout the game. Despite knowing his college career was over, Robinson chose to remain focused on the collective, cheering on his teammates and celebrating each small victory as if it were his own. He was 100% focused the entire time, Pope said, noting Robinson's mental strength. And you only realize how hard that was for him because when we got back to the locker room and the celebration was over, Jackson started crying, inconsolable tears. This moment of vulnerability, while painful, reveals the depth of Robinson's character. He didn't allow his personal grief to overshadow the team's brilliance, not even for a second. It wasn't until the game was over and the adrenaline had subsided that he finally allowed himself to feel the weight of reality. What makes this story even more moving is how it reflects the culture Pope is building within the program. Since taking over, he has emphasized values such as unity, sacrifice, and resilience. Robinson embodies these principles, and his behavior following the injury is a testament to the impact Pope has had on his players. The coach acknowledged this when he described Robinson as a very special human being. It's not just athletic talent or technical skills that define a player. It's the way he handles adversity and supports those around him. The scene Pope describes, Robinson crying in the locker room after the emotional victory, is a powerful reminder that sports are about human moments. It's easy to forget that these athletes are young people facing enormous pressures and having experiences that will shape who they are off the court. Seeing someone like Robinson handle a personal tragedy with such dignity and selflessness is inspiring. He could have withdrawn, felt sorry for himself, or let his pain interfere with the team's performance. Instead, he chose to lead by example, showing his teammates that the true meaning of being part of a team goes beyond stats or minutes played. For Kentucky fans, Robinson will be remembered not just for the points he scored or the saves he made, but for the way he represented the values of the program. He gave it his all until the very end, and even when his body failed him, his heart kept beating for the team. That attitude is a gift to his teammates, who now have the responsibility of honoring his legacy this season and to the fans who saw in Robinson an example of courage and commitment. As Robinson begins his recovery, there is hope that he will find solace in the memories he created and the impact he had on his teammates. His name may not be on the scoreboards in the coming games, but his presence will be felt in every extra pass, every pep talk from the bench, and every victory won through collective effort. As Pope put it, Robinson is a very special human being, and that, more than any statistic, is what defines a true leader. What do you think? Leave a comment.